Welcome to Willows, California, Thunderhill Raceway Park for rounds 3 and 4 of Formula F The Series Championship. As usual, we're going to get right to it. This is a very interesting start. We've got Denny on pole, and that's me, Eric Little, on the outside of him. It's an interesting start because these Hondas with the fuel injection have quite a bit of torque, and Denny's motor in particular. You can see as the green flies that Denny really pulls me. You're going to see it from a better view a little bit later. But I decided that there's either going to be grip into turn 1 or there's not. And I sent it around the outside. There I am. And there was indeed grip there and managed to pull off that pass. A difficult move because you don't know if that grip's going to be there or if it's not. You find out when you get there. Denny on the inside kind of had to back out because on the inside if you spin you take out the guy on the outside of you. On the outside if you spin you go for a ride through the dirt. Here's the view at the back of Denny, and again you'll see that his move here is really good. He's pulling me. He's a full car length up in front of me. But as we go into turn 1 and he lifts, I just stay out on the outside. And now the onboard from me, you'll be able to get to see that pass around the outside. And like I said, Denny wasn't sure how much grip was there. He lifted early. It was probably the right move, and it would pay off later on anyhow. I was going to make plenty of mistakes in this race. So here I am on the outside. Denny keeps that door on the bottom closed, but leaves the outside perfectly open, and I go ahead and take that move around the outside. I may have mentioned that Denny's going to get another shot back at this. This is later that same lap, so I don't even lead a complete lap of this. I'm going to get my arch nemesis, the 2 to 3 shift, to act up again, and there it is right there. Can't get the car to go into gear. I'm losing speed. Denny's gaining, so is Stewart. Denny goes by. Stewart's going to go by along with him. I'm going to slot into third place and see if I can manage to get back up to these guys. Those two battle it out, and we'll see a little bit more of that later. It was a heck of a battle, and everybody was pushing really hard to make sure that they stayed where they were. I'm going to see that view from Denny's car, and from Denny's car you can see it was actually pretty close when I missed that shift. He's got to take quite evasive action to not run into the back of me, which would have been ugly because we would have ripped up some race cars. But Denny's done this before. He knows what he's doing. He's able to see this move come in. He sees the gaining on me right there and moves over just in the nick of time. Finally, the view of that out the back of Denny's car, you're going to see this is coming up on the corner where I missed the 2-3 shift. And you're going to see his car swerve quite heavily here to get around me, much more so than you can see in the front view right there. He does make it around. Stewart gets a run on me as well, and the two of them are off and running. We go over now to Denny and Stewart having quite a battle. And this is going to be pretty close for quite a long time. And Stewart's just biding his time, waiting to see if he can get a spot, and here it is. Denny came up on two Formula Vs that were moving a little bit slower, caught one in a bad spot. Stewart's going to get up alongside and go around the outside. And he's going to be just far enough out there, and he saw me on that first lap to know that there is grip on the outside. Makes a move, makes it stick, takes over first place. That isn't going to be it, because Denny's going to try to come back on him, trust me. And here is that effort from Denny not too many laps later. He gets a really good run coming through this uphill left-right and moves over to the inside. This is a tough turn to pass on because it is pretty high speed, but he's now parked down on the inside. He's got the corner and he's going to take that move. Stewart's going to drop in behind and see if he can try him at some other point. Denny goes a bit defensive there to make sure he's closed off the line on that corner. Then, like I said, he's got a ton of torque in that motor, accelerates away, and he is safe for the moment. We'll see that view out the back. You can see duck to the inside. Stewart's going to run around the outside of that corner. Sit back in on Denny. You can see the defensive line, but not much he can do. He's just going to wait for another opportunity at another moment. These two stay close throughout this lap, and Stewart gets a run right here, but Denny stays to the inside. He's going to make him go to the outside, and once we get down to the braking zone, Stewart's not going to have quite enough to get by him. Again, he's just going to have a little bit of patience and go get Denny where and when he can. And that next opportunity for Stewart will be an unfortunate one. This is the difficulty of running in a mixed run group. Thinks he's going to go around the outside of the V, has to lock him up to slow down. Stewart takes advantage by going to the inside. You can see the puff of brake smoke there. Stewart is now up ahead and Denny is having to chase, and that puts him in a difficult spot. It's putting quite a bit of stress on him, quite a bit of a difficult thing to do, but he's going to try to make that run. You can see that Stewart's got traffic in front of him. Maybe this will pan out to Denny's favor. Maybe he'll be able to get by. Doesn't turn out that way. They're going to split these two Vs, and move on, but both of them are going to get held up to some degree doing this maneuver, and really neither of them makes ground on the other. Let's talk a little bit about this track. Started running here about 5 or 6 years ago, and back then it had quite a bit of grip. Turn 1 that you saw earlier, where we had that pass on the outside at the start, and I said I wasn't sure if there was grip there. There really wasn't this weekend. Turn 1, back when we started running this place, it was a little bit of a lift, and you were pretty high speed in 4th gear going through it. This corner right here has always been taken in 4th gear flat out. A combination of the track not being in great shape and bad tires for me on Sunday, I only made it through there flat once. The rest of the time I had to lift because the car was all over the place. But turn 1 on this occasion was actually pretty heavy braking. And keep that in mind, because you're going to see it come back to catch out Denny here in just a minute, unfortunately. Denny's pushing really hard. He's got Stewart right there in front of him. He's up on his gearbox. He's catching him. He's looking for that win. We've got a club Ford up in front of us that is being lapped, and in this braking zone, Denny's going to, I don't know, miss his braking point or something happened here, but he's pushing hard to try to catch Stewart. I'm going to give him bonus points for trying to catch that shock cover, though. In the midst of spinning, to have the presence of mind to try to save the fiberglass work, that's pretty impressive. No one ran over it, fortunately, so it was still all in one piece. But remember what I said about turn 1 and it being pretty slippery this weekend. Well, Denny's going to try to catch Stewart again. He's fast. He knows he's fast. He was running with Stewart before. He knows he can get by him. He really wants this win. Unfortunately, there it is. The car goes wide. He gets the dirt on the exit and puts the thing around backwards. I am going to get by him right here. You see me go past him. He just didn't lose very much time in that spin, so he's actually going to come back towards me with just like a lap to go. There's the view out the back. You can see me go by. Again, 360. It was like Danny Sullivan's spin and win moment. This is the view from me. That's his first brake lockup down into that one turn, and me catching him quite greatly. At this point, I'm wondering, maybe I'll get him. Maybe I've got an opportunity to get myself back up into second place here. Didn't realize it would come in turn 1, and you're going to see some opposite lock go on because the rear end of my car is going to step out since I don't know exactly what direction Denny is going to go. He gets out in the dirt here. I don't know if he's going to go outside or if the car is going to spin back. It spins back. I have to straighten things up and go around. I've lost a lot of speed by doing that, and Denny didn't lose much getting there. This is just a couple of laps later. This is like with 1 lap to go, and Denny is all over the back of me. I've got a car that's not handling great. These tires are rather old. I did not buy new tires for this race weekend yet. Shame on me. And then I'm simply going to make an error here and dive it too deep into this corner with too much speed, and I can't get it slowed down. I can't get back to the inside, and Denny is by. We'll see that view from my onboard, and you can see some opposite lock coming into the corner here. Yeah, that's it, and I know that it's over. I know that Denny is by me, and I'm just going to try to hang on the best that I can. The view out the back of Denny, you'll be able to see me out there nearly trimming shrubs over by the corner worker stand. But Denny is off now, and that is our finishing position right there. Stewart's going to get the win, Denny's going to get second, and I'm going to come in third. We move on to Sunday, and I'm going to tell you there's not a lot of video footage of this one. It was a rather boring race, quite frankly, which is unusual for our group. We usually run pretty close together. Stewart and Denny both went out on stickers, and I am on my 8th heat cycle, and I am right behind these two, starting in 3rd place. And the two of them just proceeded to gap me at about 2 seconds a lap, and I was 30-some-odd seconds behind by the time it was over. I ended up in this magical no man's land where I was like 30 seconds behind them and like 20 seconds in front of the folks in front of me. But you saw in that start, Denny kind of learned his lesson from the day before that you can start from the outside and you can still go ahead and take turn 1. Again, you're going to see that torque from that Honda motor kind of take over here on this start. This is just what seems to happen on these starts. That car leaps off the line like you can't believe, and there's just no holding him back. He stays to the inside to not really give Stewart the line to be able to get there. Goes through the middle of the corner, and he's got the position. Out the back of him, you can see me on the right-hand side. Right behind him is John Branstad. Behind that, we've got Andy Patterson as well. I don't remember who else is back there, but again, you're going to see this jump, and it's not that he gets a fantastic start. It's just that motor really pulls, because you can see everybody else is kind of maintaining station. There's not really that much of a movement, but Denny gains 3/4 of a car length. So great motor in that car, good for him. He ran a really clean race. He simply is going to check out from everybody in this. Stewart stays close for a couple of laps, and Denny just continues to whittle away at it. No mistakes, no errors, no traffic that held him up. Stewart didn't get by him, so there was no pressure to catch anybody back up. And Denny has just an absolutely flawless race. Stewart falls in for second place, not terribly far behind Denny, but not close enough to really push him at the end. Like I say, you can see that gap out the back. Stewart kind of stays within that few second range, and I just keep dropping back a second or two per lap. You know, it was a fun run. It didn't make sense for me to buy new tires for this particular event, and so I didn't. I wasn't able to do the test day. It just, budget-wise, didn't really seem to be a wise idea for me to do. It's a long tow to get up there and back. It's a 1,000-mile round trip for me. Didn't really want to take an additional day off of work, which meant no test day, not much point in buying new tires for the race weekend, so I didn't, and I paid for it. 8 heat cycles versus somebody who's on stickers is just not going to work, and I'm kind of surprised that I held with them in this lap as long as I did, but there was just nothing there. There was no ability to really push the car hard, and there was no point in doing it because I was just going to throw it off the track ultimately. So I just, at that point, I turned it into a test day, and it was really about watching the timer on the dash and seeing if I could turn a quicker lap each lap, even though the tires were going further and further away. And I'm pretty proud to say that in the last lap I turned my second fastest lap of the entire race. So I managed to keep the consistency there, which is good. This was, like I said earlier, this is the only lap that I went through that corner flat. The rest of the time it was counter steer throughout the entire corner and hope the back end doesn't come completely around, kind of like it did just there. So new tires for the next race, and this one I'll take the third place and be happy with it. Like I said, Denny's going to run away with this one. He's going to take first place fairly easily, comparatively. You know, Stewart was there to push him, so if he would have made a mistake early on, it would have been tough. But no mistakes out of Denny in this race, and that suited him quite well. Moving on to Stewart, you can kind of see he's hanging with Denny, and things are looking pretty good, but ultimately Denny's just going to keep pulling this little bit of a gap. I show this more because this track's fun to watch. It really is. The other thing I'm showing you here is the ergonomics that Stewart has in that cockpit, and you can see how little his hands move. You'll also see here in just a moment, because he just went to first, when he does the first to second shift, that was the first to second shift. His palm doesn't come off the steering wheel. He grabs second gear with his fingertips and simply pulls straight back. This is a guy who's done this for a long time, and he really has everything set up just the way he wants it in the car. You'll see his hands move a teeny tiny bit. That's all to make little small corrections, but those corrections are tiny compared to the corrections that I do, which is full lock. He's got the car set up really well. It's fast, just on this particular weekend, not fast enough to get Denny on both days. So the two of them split the event with a first and a second and a first. Points-wise, that puts them even for that. Of course, we got to total that up with the other race that we had. But these two will come out of this in pretty good position in terms of points. We're looking forward to our next round, which will be at Willow Springs. We will go from the longest tow that I have of the season to the shortest tow that I have of the season in 2 consecutive races, so I'm glad to be the shortest tow. Hopefully we'll get you a video from Willow Springs, because we usually have some really exciting racing there. Love that track. It's a fantastic facility. In the meantime, thank you to the San Francisco region for putting on this event. It was fantastic. Thank you for Hoosier Tire West for providing the great racing slicks that we run on, as well as some items to be able to give away. We really appreciate that. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.